The following program, The Russ Belville Show, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate to the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity and encourage all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers on The Russ Belville Show are their own, and The Russ Belville Show cannot be held legally responsible for their validity or reliability. Viewer discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
Now, here's your host, Radical Russ Belville.
Good day, tokers and tokettes, and welcome to the show. It is Friday, May 2nd, 2014, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Yeah, we made it to the weekend. It's going to be a great weekend here in Portland. I hope it's a great weekend wherever you are, and that this weekend on Saturday, you will be taking part in the Global Cannabis March. That's right. Over 300 cities across the world taking part in the Global Cannabis March this weekend. And those that aren't taking part this Saturday will be taking part next Saturday. That's mostly Latin America and some of Europe, where this Saturday is their May Day March for labor celebration. But anyway, if you're in North America, chances are, or in Australia, you're going to be doing the Global Cannabis March this Saturday. So get online, globalcannabismarch.com. Find out where your city is, where it's happening. Here in Portland, Oregon, it'll be happening at Pioneer Courthouse Square. We start gathering around 11 a.m. We leave at high noon. I'll be there with Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. He'll be calling in a little bit later in the show. We'll also have all of just about everybody in Portland's marijuana community, Madeline Martinez from World Famous Cannabis Cafe, Paul Stanford from the THCF clinics, Casper Leach from Time for Hemp. I mean, everybody's going to be there. There'll be a lot of speeches. There'll be a lot of information. And of course, us marching for freedom. That's right. This is a war about freedom. And that's what we're marching for. Join us. It'll be my 10th march since getting involved with marijuana activism, and it was at the first Global Cannabis March I went to in 2005 that got me all hooked up and networked with the people I needed to make my career happen in marijuana reform. So get involved, Global Cannabis March this Saturday. Now, coming up on the show today, we've got a special radical rant. There's a company out there called OpenVAPE. They won second at the Denver Cannabis Cup for vaporizing product. Turns out they drug test their employees. We'll tell you all about that and the growing resentment from the cannabis community and the reform community over this news. Also on the show today, we're going to take you back to Denver for the Cannabis Cup 420, where Blazy from Hemp Beats TV has put together a couple retrospective videos we'll take a look at. Also, 538.com has analyzed the chances of youth turnout bolstering Democrats' chances in the forthcoming elections, and how marijuana doesn't really play much into that. Kind of surprising finding from 538. But when we come back, we've got our headline news up next. 420 Radio News when we come back.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. simply business.
The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the best way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney, Omar Figueroa." Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com. 420 Radio, your ticket to the Boston Freedom Rally. Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today.
This is your 420 Radio News for Friday, May 2nd, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Uruguayan President Jose Mujica has called the legalization of marijuana in Colorado fiction on the eve of rolling out his country's first in the world legalized marijuana. Speaking to Associated Press, President Mujica said, quote, "We don't go along with the idea that marijuana is benign, poetic, and surrounded by virtues. No addiction is good," he said. "We aren't going to promote smoke fests, bohemianism, all this stuff they try to pass off as innocuous when it isn't. They'll label us old reactionaries, but this isn't a policy that seeks to expand marijuana consumption. What it aims to do is keep it all within reason and not allow it to become an illness," end quote. In Uruguay, the only marijuana that will be legal will be cloned from a set of government-approved plants and sold with limits of 10 grams per week to consumers licensed and tracked by the government. Anyone caught with marijuana not matching the genetic markers of the official cloned plants will still face criminal prosecution. The race is on to whether Iowa or Florida becomes the next CBD-only state. Yesterday, we reported that the Iowa Senate had forwarded to its governor a bill to legalize only the cannabidiol extract of the cannabis plant, and only for those people suffering intractable epileptic seizures. Today, the Florida Senate has sent to Governor Rick Scott a bill that would do the same. Florida cannabidiol extract must contain no more than 0.8% THC and can only be recommended by a doctor who has provided ongoing treatment and exhausted every other possible treatment. The extract will be made available at 4 dispensaries across the Sunshine State to registered patients, unlike Iowa's bill, which will require patients to smuggle the oil across state lines in violation of state and federal laws. Other states that have passed laws legalizing limited use of cannabidiol only are Utah, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Wait, this just in. Add Missouri to the race for the 6th CBD-only state. Thanks to the personal pleas of a state senator whose 9-year-old son has intractable epilepsy, the Missouri Senate has unanimously approved a CBD-only bill and sent it to the desk of Governor Jay Nixon. Under Missouri's proposal, 2 nonprofit companies in Missouri would grow Charlotte's Web cannabis plants and extract cannabidiol oil for registered patients. Only a neurologist could recommend the CBD oil, and then only if the doctor can prove the patient has tried at least 3 other treatments. The state will audit the nonprofits to ensure their plans plants remain below 0.3% THC. The bill passed the House 136-12. Should all of these states' governors sign these bills, there will be 8 states that have gone CBD only in just this year. Legal marijuana businesses in Colorado are still fighting to access banking services, and a plan to help them died in the Colorado legislature almost as soon as it was hatched. A proposal was introduced to allow state-licensed marijuana businesses to form an uninsured financial cooperative with permission to provide services such as checking and credit, subject to approval by the U.S. Federal Reserve. The proposal was introduced late Wednesday and had cleared a House committee before legislators late yesterday tabled the bill in favor of more study. Don Childers, head of the Colorado Bankers Association, testified Thursday that, quote, "it is flatly illegal to deal in any illegal substance or any proceeds therefrom," end quote. Regarding the proposed co-op, Childers said, quote, "we really do not believe that will work," end quote, noting failed attempts by lawmakers 2 years ago to create a state-chartered bank for the medical marijuana industry. Washington State's Liquor Control Board has posted the results of its lottery to award 334 retail recreational marijuana licenses. More than 2,000 people submitted applications for the coveted licenses, and the number of eligible applicants was whittled down to 1,174. Those applicants were assigned a number, and randomizing their place in the lottery was handled by the firm that runs the Washington Lottery and Washington State University's Social and Economic Sciences Research Center. A high placement in the lottery does not guarantee an applicant a license. If they fail a background check, financial investigation, or other requirements, they will lose their place to the next applicant in line. There are 191 applicants in line for 21 retail marijuana licenses in Seattle. Diego Pellicer, the marijuana brand launched by former Microsoft manager Jamin Shively, managed to nab spot number 21. This Saturday is the Global Cannabis March all across the world. Join me and Herb Thrasher and most of the Portland area's marijuana reformers for our march and speeches to begin and end at Portland's Living Room, Pioneer Courthouse Square. I began my career in activism at the 2005 march, so this will be my 10th opportunity to march the streets of Portland to demand our cannabis rights and hemp heritage. It's free, but please leave your dog, your drugs, and your alcohol at home. This is about freedom, not partying. This has been your 420 Radio News for Friday, May 2nd, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available at our website at 420radio.org. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at 538.com's analysis of youth voter turnout and how marijuana initiatives may not actually help Democrats all that much. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.
When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you don't just want any attorney. You want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The law office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Lauren Vasquez knows the details of California marijuana law from both a personal and professional angle. Lauren Vasquez rose from the ranks of college normal activist to become one of the Bay Area's best marijuana lawyers. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired-up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com. The number again is 855-MMJ-LAWS, 855-665-5297 for your fired-up lawyer, Lauren Vasquez. Lauren Vasquez is an activist attorney you can trust. Call today.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, home of the famous lighter leash. Herb Age Designs. Get your Herb Age t-shirts and hoodies and show your pride. Herb Age Designs. We've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs. We've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. We'll see you at this year's Hemp Fest. Crank it up.
The Jodie Emery Show, starring Jodie Emery from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Fridays at 5 p.m. on 420radio.org.
Welcome back, everyone. Quarter after the hour, time for us to go behind the headlines and marijuana initiatives and how they may affect the 2014 elections has been quite a political question. And there's kind of a common political wisdom that having marijuana on the ballot is going to help a Democratic candidate. You know, you remember when the Republicans used those anti-gay marriage initiatives in the early 2000s to drive turnout among social conservatives? And then they figure, get churchy out to vote, and then they're going to vote Republican as well. Well, there's some pundits now that think pro-marijuana initiatives, legalization and medical, will drive turnout among young people who overwhelmingly support legalization, and then those young people will then vote Democratic. Now, there's something to that. I mean, marijuana politics certainly played a large role in electing Oregon's Attorney General, who was an underdog Democrat who trounced a well-financed establishment Democrat candidate in the 2012 primary because he opposed medical marijuana. In Alaska, some believe Democrat Mark Begich's Senate campaign benefits from the recent move of the legalization vote from the August primary to the November general election ballot. And in Florida, many have speculated that Orlando attorney John Morgan's generous financial support for a medical marijuana amendment there is a cynical move to boost the chances that his candidate, former Republican governor turned Democratic gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist, will win his former office back. But a new analysis from 538.com shows that Democrats hoping for an influx of young, pot-smoking, progressive voters might be disappointed. Initial exit polls from 2012 from Oregon, Washington, and Colorado showed great increases in youth turnout. Oregon's legalization lost, but boosted youth turnout by 5 points. Washington, where I-502 won, youth turnout was up 12 points. And in Colorado, where Amendment 64 won, youth turnout was up 6 points. Although, interestingly, legalization got 50,000 more votes than did President Obama in Colorado. But that's the exit polls, and a more accurate reading of the 2012 election numbers comes from the Census Bureau, and they found very little change in youth turnout compared to the last presidential election of 2008. The average drop among those 3 legalization voting states in 2012 was 1.2 points, not far from the 1.5 point drop nationally. Further analysis of states voting on legalization or decriminalization of marijuana since 1998 showed there was an average 0.2 point decrease in young voters compared to the last similar election. That's if you compare a presidential election to the last presidential or a midterm to the last midterm. And as noted, the pro-legalization turnout in Colorado didn't seem to turn all in Democrat Barack Obama's favor, 50,000 fewer votes. And looking at the county-by-county level, the success or failure of the 2012 legalization measures didn't correlate with how well President Obama's results turned out in that county. But consider that to this point, Democrats have been the party of marijuana by default. Almost all Republicans have been quite open about opposing us, but most Democrats have never been very strong about supporting us. Perhaps if Democrats ally themselves publicly with pro-marijuana efforts, as my congressman Earl Blumenauer has recently done with a series of TV ads openly calling for marijuana law reform, then they can make the rising support of legalization work in their political favor. And I think I've got this available for you too. I can actually show you the Blumenauer ad. This is the 30-second ad that is currently playing. Well, actually, a 15-second ad that is currently playing on the Portland airwaves. Check this out. It's so nice to see from a sitting congressman.
Fine, 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 fine. We gon' run you through the top.
Our marijuana laws don't work and cost the government billions. Let states set their own laws. Tax it. Use the money to fund education and let the police focus on real drug abuse. I'm Earl Blumenauer, and I approve this message because it's...
That's a sitting U.S. congressman there from my district here in Oregon, openly supporting reform in marijuana laws. He's got a 30-second version of that ad as well that I just saw last night. We'll bring it to you here on 420 Radio just as soon as we can get a copy of it. But for now, that's right, it's time for our union-mandated safety meeting. to make sure all of the pipes are flowing correctly. Hope your pipes are in order. I'm going to take a break. We'll be right back with Herb Thrasher.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Let him bring in the beat. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let him bring in the beat.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420.
In the afternoon, if I'm home, I smoke marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Marijuana, yeah. I got my ganja.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and I need your help. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 20s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stop arresting law-abiding citizens because they prefer marijuana over alcohol. Nearly 2,000 Americans are arrested every day on marijuana charges. We're unfairly destroying the lives and careers of hundreds of thousands of people each year simply because they smoke marijuana. These are not criminals. They're average citizens like you, good neighbors who work hard, raise families, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. We need your help to end marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Rockin' Friday, featuring rock, metal, and the hard edge of alternative country. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, everybody, we made it to the weekend. It's 24 after the hour. It's a Friday, and that means it's time for us to check in with the master of mayhem, metal, and marijuana. It's Herb Thrasher. How you doing, Herb?
All right, man, doing great. Been having a great week here in Portland weather-wise, and so it just makes for a great week, period. Hey, I just heard that Willie Nelson commercial, and make sure everyone knows that Willie had a birthday on Tuesday.
That's right.
So big shout-out to Willie Nelson on his birthday, and also a black belt. So those of you guys, hopefully been keeping up and know all about Willie. And I'm really excited about all these marches going on, Russ. This weekend, tomorrow, all over the nation, all over the countries, and they're just everywhere, man. But here in Portland, we're excited to have our 15th annual Global Cannabis March. It's going to be right here in Pioneer Courthouse Square, and I'm going to be the MC, and we've got amazing speakers. We've got a keynote speaker. Congressman Earl Blumenauer is going to be there, and so excited to just hear that. He's really gotten behind our movement. He's always been about freedom in his own ways, and he's really kind of getting behind, and so real anxious to hear what he's got to say. We have other speakers there. Paul Stanford's going to be there, and Paul Loney, Anna Diaz, Rashawn Reardon, so just all kinds of people, a lot of good companies. You're going to be there speaking. 420 Radio is going to be there, and so hopefully you guys out there around the Portland area, get out there, come down and see us in other cities, man. I've been speaking about this for a good couple weeks now, and please go out there and just join and find a march and go out there and have some fun.
Yep. Can't underestimate or overestimate how important it is to get your feet in the street and meet the people that you're fighting this war with. It changes everything.
Well, you know, it'll give everyone it's a sense of team. You know, we really are. I know when you read the headlines, it doesn't look like we're a team, and especially maybe if you look at Washington or something like that, it doesn't look like we're a team, but we should be. And at least for tomorrow, for one day, let's make like The Warriors, that movie, when all the gangs, they kind of gave up one day of truce.
Yeah.
They all went to New York, and kind of, there was a bigger picture that they all had to look at. And so let's do that for tomorrow. And speaking of tonight, let's look at tonight.
Yeah.
Real excited. Herb Thrasher Flower Hour have a special guest, Jaron from Mach 22. We've been speaking about this band for a couple weeks now. We're real fired up to get behind their brand new album, Sweet Talk Intervention, which releases next Tuesday on May 6th. And these guys are from Philadelphia, hard rockers, and they just really, really got a top-notch album here. It's independently released, and so they're not behind a label right now. And so people like us and people like you are going to push some of these real bands like this to the forefront. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of getting behind Mach 22 a little bit more than normal, because I call this real rock and roll, man. It comes from the soul. You can just tell these guys have great chemistry. They have the 80s rock, the 90s rock, the 2000s rock, and it's just a blend for a beautiful sound. And you guys, please join us tonight as we talk to Jaron, who is their bass player, and figure out their formula and how they've been able to get this far without a label, with just their first album. They've already got 4 videos, not even released yet. And so it's real positive stuff for Mach 22. We're live tonight at 8 p.m. right here on 420radio.org. You guys have a great, safe weekend, and get out there and support freedom. And those of you guys around the Portland area, find me tomorrow and say hi.
All right.
What's up, folks? Be free.
All right, this is Mach 22. Don't You Give Me.
It's your face.
Why you got me standing give it to you. There you go, changing your mind. I can't read between the lines. I can't read between the lines. Let me tell you this one time. Baby, you taste so sweet. Every bit of you was warm and sticky. Look at what you're doing to me. All I gotta do on my mind. Baby, you taste so sweet. Every bit of you was warm and sticky. Look at what you're doing to me. All I gotta do, all I gotta do, all I gotta do on my mind. Don't you give me your heart, you don't pay, yeah. Say it one more time, say it one more time. Do you want me mine? There you go, changing your mind. Do you want me mine? Do you want me mine? Do you want me mine? Oh, oh, oh,
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420. You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
New Approach Oregon is a coalition of Oregon citizens who believe that treating marijuana use as a crime has failed, costing taxpayers millions in law enforcement resources. We believe it's time for a new approach on marijuana, and that Oregonians deserve a chance to decide in the 2014 general election. Our approach will regulate, tax, and legalize marijuana for adults in Oregon. By implementing a strict system to regulate, tax, and legalize marijuana, we can move Oregon forward and create new revenue for critical services. Under our approach for 2014, 40% of funds would support K-12 education, 20% would support mental health and treatment services, and 15% would be dedicated to law enforcement. Public opinion, coupled with victories in Washington and Colorado, confirms marijuana legalization is inevitable. Visit our website at newapproachoregon.com or our page on Facebook at New Approach Oregon. Thank you.
Marijuana Compassion and Common Sense, starring Lanny Swerdlow from Inland Empire, California. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific on 420radio.org.
Let's get the session started because it's 420.
Since 1974, High Times Magazine has been the chronicle of the fight for cannabis freedom. Each month we take a look at the latest interviews, news, grow tips, equipment, music, and events featured in this month's issue with our High Times preview.
All right, stay tuned for Hour 2. We'll have our Fan Friday giveaway of this May 77 issue of High Times. But for right now, we've got another report from the 420 Denver Cannabis Cup. This one comes to you from Blazy, our friend from Hemp Beach TV. You can check out Hemp Beach TV in our lineup as well.
You can check out my very first video of the Denver High Times Cannabis Cup. Now, I only have day one because I had so much footage and so little time. But if you subscribe, you can find out when day 2 will come out. And be sure that you do, because we have people dabbing their faces off. We have the ambulances, we have 420 giveaways, we have huge smokeouts, we have an exclusive interview with Bobby Black, and even some of the awards from the ceremony because I was too stoned to get them. So make sure you stay tuned, guys. I hope you enjoyed this short, sweet, non-45-minute video that I made of the Cannabis Cup.
Before we leave. Now we're going up, we're loading the van, getting together, just me and the band. It's time for us to get ready to roll. Grab the bong and grab the joint, grab the blunts, let's have some fun. It's time for us to get ready to go. Time for us to get some fun. It's time for us to get ready to roll. I wanna smoke some trees before we leave. Wanna take a tour before we go. Gotta get ready for the show. It's a hot song, we sing it loud. Before we go, we drink, we smoke. Gotta get ready for the show. 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 Gotta get ready for the show.
Alright guys, so that was day one of the Denver Cannabis Cup. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be releasing day two as soon as I can, but if you want to be the first to see it uploaded, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share the vid, do all that good shit. Stay blazy my friends, and thanks for watching.
Buddy.
All right, big thanks to Blazy for the report there from the High Times Cannabis Cup on 420. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. And when we come back, we're taking a look at OpenVAPE, a vape pen company that recently won second place Best Vaporizer at the Denver Cannabis Cup, which announced a couple of weeks ago its policy of drug testing employees for dangerous drugs. Got a few things to say about that in the rant. Coming up next.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Ever wonder how often to change your bong water? The most effective method for baking pot brownies? The best destinations for a ganja getaway? How to hide herb in your car? Whether to grow your own? How precisely to legalize it? Or how something as wonderful as marijuana ever got to be illegal in the first place? Finally, you can find all these answers and much more in the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook, featuring 420 things to do when you're stoned. Since 1974, High Times Magazine has covered marijuana in all its aspects and wonders, from cultivation to legalization to the herb's enduring and exalted place in popular culture. Packed with inside information, the official High Times Pot Smoker's Handbook rolls all of this collected wisdom together into a single indispensable ganja guide, including an entertaining look at marijuana's history, profiles of herb-friendly travel destinations and festivals, favorite potluck recipes from the High Times staff, smoking skills, advocacy and activism, essential marijuana movies and songs, profiles of famous cannabis strains, comprehensive growing information, celebrity endorsements, and much more. This is truly, finally, the ultimate guide to green living.
420 Radio, freeing your mind 24 hours a day.
The judge allows in evidence that Trayvon Martin did have marijuana in his system at the time he died. What difference, if any, does that make? Because I've seen too many felonies, and I don't mean pot sales or growing pot like this guy up in Connecticut. To me, it means that he is less likely to pick a fight with someone. I mean, people on pot shoot each other. Isn't it true that when you smoke pot, you just want to lay on the sofa and eat? People on pot kill families, wipe out a whole family. The common connotation pot goes with lethargy, with the munchies, with wanting to eat, with being laid back, not with chasing somebody down, jumping out from behind bushes, beating them in the head till they're pulpy, and basically starting mortal combat. That's not what you typically equate with smoking a doobie. I've got to be drinking booze, or I've got to be smoking, or I've got to be high.
Hey, man. Am I driving okay?
The Russ Belville Show reminds you to never smoke and drive impaired. Hang out for a while. Share.
I think we're parked.
Take a little trip. Take a little trip. Take a little.
You want answers? I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical rant.
OpenVAPE drug tests its employees. Now, I got a press release that's a couple of weeks old, but I'm still stunned by the triumphant declaration by a maker of cannabis vaporizer pens that it proudly drug tests its employees. OpenVAPE is in the High Times Vape Pen Guide, by the way, if you want to look that up. They were number 28 in the list. Sent out a release on April 17th. It was entitled, OpenVAPE, the nation's largest cannabis brand, will test employees for dangerous drug abuse. Now let's ignore for the moment the audacious claim to brand supremacy for a product that placed second in its category at the latest Cannabis Cup. Let's hear from the public spokesperson from OpenVAPE, Todd Mitchum. This was in his press release. Quote, unlike dangerous drugs, cannabis can be part of a healthy lifestyle that promotes wellness. We always encourage consumers to use cannabis responsibly, and as such, we have implemented a stringent drug policy for our own employees. OpenVAPE understands that as the largest brand in the cannabis industry, our view holds weight, and our view is simple. We won't tolerate dangerous drug use by our employees, end quote. Gosh, dangerous drugs like, say, psilocybin mushrooms or LSD, which, like cannabis, can't cause a fatal overdose? Or would that be dangerous drugs like ecstasy, which, as former UK drugs advisor Professor David Nutt once noted, is safer than horseback riding? Or maybe you're talking about ketamine, that horse tranquilizer that still ranks lower than cannabis in overall danger. Or would you be talking about the most dangerous drugs, alcohol and nicotine, that OpenVAPE will be testing for? No. Oh, I'm sorry, because those drugs aren't scheduled. And OpenVAPE seeks to, quote, reinforce the important differentiation between cannabis and other scheduled drugs, end quote. Sadly, some cannabis consumers working for OpenVAPE seem to approve of the policy, happy to drop trow and submit to the drug war discrimination tactic of peeing in a cup to demonstrate fitness for employment, just so long as it isn't their drug being discriminated against. Testing positive for cannabis won't get you fired or not hired by OpenVAPE, but testing positive for anything else will. OpenVAPE, it's not the danger of the drugs you are testing for that matters. It's the disgusting breach of personal privacy. It's the warrantless accusation that we're guilty of being drug criminals until proven innocent by the seizure of our fluids. It's the big brother attitude that people who won't submit to revealing their off-hours habits to an employer have no right to work. It's the inevitable false positives that will subject innocent people to stress and scorn. And it's the fact that you're just going to end up with some employees wandering around work with fake dongs and clean urine under their clothes to beat your drug test. Some cannabis consumers and now some cannabis businesses just don't get it. This fight for marijuana legalization isn't really about marijuana. It's about freedom. It's about being free citizens with sovereign jurisdiction over our own minds and bodies. It's about not having to surrender our rights and dignity and freedom over our personal private choices that harm no others. This is a war for liberty. Marijuana is just one of the battlefields. We didn't fight to legalize marijuana just so a vape pen company could demonize other drugs to make a public relations score. Until OpenVAPE reverses its traitorous policy of drug testing employees, I call on all cannabis consumers to boycott their products. Now, I wrote that up earlier today and got it posted up on the Weed blog, but then I got an update because there's one thing you can say about us marijuana reformers. We are on top of social media. So as soon as this came out, I saw Tom Angel from Marijuana Majority. I saw Micah Daigle, who was formerly with SSDP. I don't know if he's still with SSDP. I've seen a number. Pete Geither from Drug War Rant. Steve Bloom with Celeb Stoner. Piling on what's this about a vape pen company that drug tests. And the Twitter responses that went back and forth. I encourage you to go check out the actual press release. I made a short link for it. It's rad-r.us/OpenVAPE. I'll put that in the chat room. It's rad-r.us/OpenVAPE. And you can read for yourself, but tell me if you don't recognize some of the phrases and some of the mindset that we have heard from the DEA and the Office of National Drug Control Policy as they've pushed the drug testing agenda all these years. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same justifications. Let me give you just a little bit from the Twitter battle, just to give you an idea what Todd Mitchum from OpenVAPE had to say. So it started with Tom Angel from Marijuana Majority. He says, Todd Mitchum, can we talk about reversing discriminatory OpenVAPE drug testing policy ASAP in lieu of a public campaign petition against it? Todd Mitchum replies, Tom Angel, at OpenVAPE, we are keeping people safe. So sorry you don't care about employee safety. Grown-ups need to behave differently. Oh, so people who oppose drug testing are children who don't care about safety. Keep on digging, Tom. Mambo Sauce jumped into the conversation and said, sorry, drug testing flies in the face of everything the marijuana movement is about. Will never see me buy one of your products. Todd Mitchum replied, I guess I missed the memo where the marijuana community was fighting for employers embracing the abuse of dangerous drugs. Whoa, okay. So now employers who respect the privacy of their employees and don't assume they're drug criminals until disproven by piss are somehow embracing the abuse of dangerous drugs. Keep on digging, Todd. Sorrenzio, a fellow by the name of Benjamin, jumped in to say, if employers can't decide whether or not an applicant is a meth addict via interviews, they are incompetent. To which Todd Mitchum replied, the point here is that we must teach the public cannabis doesn't belong in the same category as dangerous drugs. By using the same tactic the drug warriors used to convince the public, pot smokers don't belong in the same workplace as drinkers and smokers. Yes, let's convince the public that our drug is okay by demonizing the other ones. Benjamin replied, actually, the point here is that you're still supporting forcing people to pee in a cup. Degrading. Micah Daigle added, PR strategy gone wrong. You will face backlash from us activists who have worked to make your industry legal. And Tom Angel added, Todd Mitchum missed memo not to mess with activists who are so good we passed laws that led to his industry's very creation. To which Todd Mitchum then replied, the strategy was careful to support mainstream cannabis use, but protect the industry from dangerous accidents. Yeah, see, this is what the drug warriors have used against us all these years. We can't have the pot smokers in the worst place because there'll be dangerous accidents without showing any data that there are such dangerous accidents from pot use. That same applies to other drugs. The demonization of people that are using any other drug flies in the face of any data about the users of that drug. There is no evidence to suggest that there's people running around high on meth, high on PCP, high on whatever it might be, causing mass amounts of accidents in the workplace. Just like your own press release, Todd, that said, quote, OpenVAPE has not encountered incidences of dangerous drug abuse within its ranks, end quote. So you have just implemented a solution in search of a problem. If the best you've got to protect the industry from reckless employees is a cup of their pee, your hiring practices and management techniques suck. Todd also added, Tom, it's unfortunate that you did not call me directly. We could have had a real grown-up discussion. Again with the condescension. Those of us who think the Fourth Amendment means something, that think it's disgusting to have to justify your ability to work for an employer based on the content of your urine, why, we're just children. How childish of us to want to have our constitutional rights. How childish of us to be expected to be treated like adults, to be expected to be innocent until proven guilty. Gosh, how childish of us. Tom Angel replied, it's unfortunate you enacted discriminatory drug policy and used prohibitionist logic to defend. You can fix at any time. And Todd Mitchum replied, and still you have not reached out to talk. Well, why would any activist at this point feel like reaching out to talk with you after being called children who don't care about employee safety, who embrace the use of dangerous drugs? Todd Mitchum concludes with this one. We're also against the war on drugs. It's a failure. But we want to keep our team safe. We are aligned with you. Aligned with me? Todd, the only reason I'm here is because discriminatory drug testing kept me from pursuing the information technology career I had worked at all my life since my junior year of high school. Drug testing is what keeps the fire burning for me. I will not stop until nobody has to justify with no suspicion that they're not a drug user just so they can have the right to work. It's wrong no matter how you slice it. And I've seen your justifications. I've seen the flurry of Twitter and Facebook activity since this has broken. I've heard from my friends in the industry and in reform who have talked to me on the phone about this privately. And you can trot out any justification you like. Oh, gee, we work with explosive gases. Oh, gee, we have a dangerous workplace. You can trot them all out. It does not change the fact that you are embracing the discriminatory, disgusting, unconstitutional, anti-liberty tactics of the enemy, of the people we just fought for 40 years to create legalization so you can have a company and make a buck. And we're not going to sit here silently and put up with it. You may think this is a tempest in a teapot. I think your next booth at the next cannabis event is going to be pretty damn interesting. I think the next time that you're trolling for votes amongst cannabis consumers and we're out there in force telling them, don't vote for that company, they're the ones that drug test. I think it might have an effect on your bottom line. I think it might have effect on your brand popularity. I think it might have an effect, Todd. The phone lines are open here at 971-533-7111. I never shy away from a grown-up discussion, but you better bring your big boy pants if you're going to be calling in and expecting me to swallow hook, line, and sinker some bullshit about keeping employees safe, keeping your company safe, keeping the world safe, or being the world's biggest brand in cannabis. All right, folks, that's all the time I got. One more hour coming up. Toker Talk Radio is next. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting 420 Radio. We are listener-supported radio, and we will always be listener-supported so we can go after the canna businesses that don't support our consumer views. Check it out, 420radio.org/VIP if you'd like to join and support. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you